This is the Spartan Body Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. Today, we're talking about the 5 reasons you are not physically fit. What are the 5 reasons that you are not physically fit? The 5 things that might be keeping you from being your best physically, mentally, emotionally. Because let's be honest, if you're not physically fit, that is having an effect on your mental health, on your emotional health, which means you're not giving the best you can to your relationships, to your work, to your purpose, to your meaning for life. And so we want to help with that. If we can be of help, go to the SpartanProgram.com and see if our 90-day program would be the thing that would get you back into physical shape, back into healthy, thriving relationships, back into finding purpose and meaning and enjoyment in your work and in the various aspects and functions of your life. Again, 5 reasons you're not physically fit. Let's walk through the list and see if any of these apply to you and how we can break through that barrier, that obstacle. Number 1, in reasons why you're not physically fit, is we live a sedentary lifestyle. Right? No one is out hunting woolly mammoths or buffalo for your food. I would say very few people, in light of the average American at least, is not doing a ton of manual labor. Now, if you're doing manual labor, that's awesome. But I also know this. There are sedentary actions still. What happens is you probably eat a ton because you're trying to fuel that energy, but then you come home and you continue to eat a ton, and then you sit down and do nothing. And so even though you have an active work lifestyle, you have a sedentary rest style, and you're still overeating that reality. We'll talk about poor diet as one of these as well, but we have a sedentary jobs. Many of us are sitting at desks all day, sitting, which is just so bad for us in various ways. So how do you get over a sedentary lifestyle, specifically when your work is sedentary, when you sit at a desk, when you sit in meetings? I'll say this, the number one thing you can do, is hydrate. You may say, hydrate? Why would that be the number one thing? Well, number one, we're not hydrated enough. We need to be hydrated. You need to be drinking at least a gallon of water a day. And so drink that gallon of water. And don't just have coffee. Don't be drinking sport drinks and pop. Drink water. If you need to flavor that water, there's some things we can talk about with flavoring water, but drink water. Now here's the reason. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Number 1 is you need to be hydrated. That's good for brain function, good for body function. Number 2, it's going to make you need to pee. So you're going to stand up a lot and go to the bathroom. I would encourage you, if you have a sedentary job, put a timer on your desk, and every 45 to 60 minutes, get up and go walk. Go walk. If you're in a building with stairs, go walk down the stairs. Go walk outside. Take a 5-minute break and just get some fresh air. Even if it's raining, go sit under the awning of the lobby entrance and just breathe in some fresh air. Do something to get you moving, right? You need to be moving. You need to stimulate your body into activity. So how do you beat a sedentary lifestyle? Drink a gallon plus of water a day, which is going to make you go to the bathroom, which is going to make you get up out of that seat. And when you get up out of that seat, go take a 5-minute little jaunt. Go on some stairs, go around, walk around the office. Just make sure you walk and don't just get caught up in a conversation 5 feet away from your desk and then return. Be active. Maybe go grab someone else and go on a walk with them. Doesn't need to be long. Don't need to take 30 minutes, but every hour, if you took a 5-minute little break, a little walk, you would notice your activity, your brain would fire better, your creativity would be more on point. And so try that for a week and tell me. I'd love to hear your results. Drink a gallon of water and walk every 60 minutes. Number two reason why we are not physically fit is because not only do we live a sedentary lifestyle, we just have an overall decrease in activity. Specifically, if you're a guy and you're getting older, you just have a lot of things on your plate, right? You have a lot of things going on. You're probably married. You probably have multiple kids. You have a demanding job because you're still, especially if you're in your 30s heading towards 40, you're climbing the ladder. You're trying to succeed. You're trying to achieve. You're trying to, right, accomplish your goals. And that means you're putting in a lot of time, putting in a lot of mental effort. And so you probably don't have the energy then to you're trying to find the energy. That's why you're not in the gym. You're like, man, when am I going to get to the gym? It's one of the things I work with a lot of clients. They're like, I just got to find the time. And it's like, let's do it. Let's figure out your schedule and see where we can give and push. And sometimes, let's just be honest, sometimes we put demands on ourselves that no one else is putting on us. We're like, I got to work all these hours for work. Do you? Is that really a reality from your work, or is that your reality? Is that your interpretation of things? Be careful. Be careful that you're not living under your expectations and they're assumed that there are someone else's expectations on you. Be very mindful. You're in much more control than you think. And I think that you got to make sure that the results, you're actually producing results with your busyness. A lot of guys are busy. A lot of guys are not producing the results that they desire. And that's one of the things too. I think the more busy you get, the more you think you're producing. And the reality is you're not. You're just busy with foolishness. So we've got a sedentary lifestyle to overcome. We've got decrease in activity level because we're not prioritizing our health. We are a lot of us are burnt out too. And when you're mentally and emotionally burnt out, you're not going to want to put in the time physically. It's hard to get motivated then. I deal with a ton of clients who are just unmotivated. And it's not because they don't want to be physically healthy. It's because they got things going between their ears mentally and emotionally that's keeping them from the motivation to actually get physically healthy. So it's this chicken egg thing. Number 3, poor diet. Right? We live in a world, at least in America today, where our diet is high in processed food, high in sugar, high in saturated fats. All these are wrecking our physical bodies. Way too many calories of the wrong foods that are not good with digestion, that are not fueling us for high performance. And so you need to dial in your diet. And it's not hard. I'm not asking you to eat kale. I'm asking you to eat tasty chicken, not even chicken breast. Eat chicken thighs. Eat white rice, sushi rice, delicious rice. Eat potatoes. Put them in the air fryer. Make them taste like fries. Just don't slather them in honey mustard dressing or crazy amounts of sugar ketchup. Right? Ketchup has no. It's just tomatoes. No, it's not. It's sugar. It's absolutely sugar. Ketchup has, a lot of times, just as much sugar as a pop. So you got to be mindful of what you're putting in your body, right? Just clean it up a little bit. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy food. Doesn't mean you can't have some processed food and some sugar. It just means you can't be eating all that stuff all the time because it's wrecking you. It's wrecking not only your body, it's wrecking your mind. That stuff is just horrible for brain cognitive function. And so you want to get more dialed in with your mind, with your creativity, with your being inspired, being joyful. Clean up your diet. So 1, sedentary lifestyle. 2, decrease in activity level. 3, poor diet. 2 more. 4, hormonal changes, right? As a man ages, his hormones are changing. He's going to have a decrease in testosterone. That's going to contribute to a decline in muscle mass. It's going to decline in his. It's going to actually affect his mind as you do get active. Maybe you're not going to lift as much as you did when you were 25, and so you got to kind of work through these things. There are some changes there. Now, this is where there are. Over the last specifically 5 years, it's becoming much more of a norm for what's called testosterone replacement therapy. You might have heard of it, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. And this is where guys are going in and getting their blood checked and actually seeing that their testosterone levels are really below where they should be. This isn't for, I think there's a lot of misconceptions. I should probably do a whole podcast on TRT. But I don't really, this is out of I'm not a doctor, so I want to be very careful when I step into this space. But again, real doctors, not just some quackamo who's trying to sell steroids. Real doctors in real clinics are doing real work to address real issues. I would say it's just like being diabetic. Like if your body is not producing the insulin or the things it needs, you need to do something about it. Like we don't shame diabetics for taking insulin, nor should we shame men for taking testosterone if they actually need it. There are guys, and this is where it's not just the common thing is, oh well, if you can't, if you're underperforming sexually, that's the sign. Not necessarily. In fact, I would say that's not even a good sign. I think the number one sign is you can't get out of bed in the morning. Like your brain is just toast. You feel like you're in brain fog all the time. You have no energy. You're totally exhausted. You're mentally fried. You're emotionally burnt out. These are some of the signs that something's going on in your body. So I'd encourage you, go get tested. You may have burned the candle so hard that your body is just like, it's aging. It's shutting down. It's right doing overtime, and you're paying the consequences of that. And so you might need to do something. You at least should look and see if if that's something to think about, because and there's a lie too that if you do TRT, like you got to be on it for life. Not necessarily. In fact, working out, like TRT might be the thing that you need to get you back into the gym, back into physical activity, and then go off it and see if your body now, because you're back to working out, you've built some muscle mass, that your body is now rejuvenated and creating its own testosterone. You know what creates testosterone? Muscle, activity. Those things create testosterone in the body. So don't hear the lie that if you do something like TRT, that you've got to be on it for life. I do not think that's true. I think that people are afraid, right? This comes back to just fear driving. I'm afraid I'm going to lose all these gains, or I'm afraid. Why not just try it? Why not test it and see? So hormonal changes, number 4. Number 5, medical conditions, right? Some men, as you age, you're getting high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. Again, most of these are issues because you're not physically fit. If you were physically fit, I bet a number of men wouldn't have high blood pressure issue. I bet they wouldn't. If their nutrition was dialed in, they wouldn't be struggling with diabetes. All these things can be, many of them, I'll just say, for many people can be eradicated if they were physically healthy. And so let's get after it. Let's make sure that the reasons you're not physically fit are actually leading to worse symptoms, or leading to these are the things that, like that sedentary lifestyle. Great, you work in an office. There are ways that you can work to be physically fit in light of that reality. You are in charge of your activity level. You are in charge of your nutrition and your diet. Hormonal changes are a fact, but there are things you can do: staying active, lifting weights, building muscle. There are ways that you can decrease the realities of aging. It doesn't mean you're not going to age. Doesn't mean you're going to live forever, but you can decrease. You eating McDonald's versus you eating, right, a Costco rotisserie chicken with some rice. The McDonald's guy is going to age much quicker. His testosterone, his muscle mass is going to fall off a cliff versus the guy who is eating nutritious food, who is going to the gym, who is focusing on building muscle and maintaining that muscle. That guy is going to have a much better, more likelihood. Doesn't mean, right? Muscles don't protect you from cancer. Muscles don't protect you from aging. You're still going to have those realities, but you're going to live a better life. You most likely, on average, a physically fit person will have will age better than someone who's not taking care of those things. It's common sense. So how do you become physically fit? Well, look at those 5 things and say, what are these things? How are these effective in my life? And what do I need to do to take action so that I'm not letting these 5 things lead me off the cliff of physical fitness. Let not these things be the excuses that are keeping me from actually living my best life now. So if that's you, if you need some help in that, man, hit me up. Join the Facebook group, Spartan Body Mind. You can go search Spartan Body Mind. These are all in the show notes as well. And again, we're taking 5 men. 5 men in March will be accepted into the Spartan program. Would love for you to be one of them. I would love to see you in 90 days recapture your zeal for life, recapture habits, resetting habits of physical, mental, and emotional fitness so that you can thrive in your relationships, so that you can thrive in your work, in your purpose and meaning for life. Life should be enjoyed, and I believe it is enjoyed when we prioritize ourselves, not in a selfish, narcissistic way, in a way that allows us to fill up our cup so we can pour it out into the things that matter most. All right, there it is, thespartanprogram.com. Check it out. Until next time.